Found this place last week. They said nobody's been here for 20 years.
There she is, covered in everything but the years.
Deep within the dust and cobwebs lies a piece of history, the 1940 Chevrolet Dubl-Duti, seeing the light of day once more.
40 years exposed to the elements, this 1940 Chevy Dubl-Duti sits silent, a monument to a bygone era.
It's an honor, sir. She's yours now. Take care of her.
We need to get her out gently. The floorboards are weak right there.
Don't you worry. We'll have her loaded up safely in no time.
All right, she's secure now. Make sure those front straps are tight.
The Dubl-Duti, once a workhorse, now begins its journey toward restoration, leaving decades of dust behind.
We need to get the engine pulled on the Mustang by tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just finishing up the prep work now.
The frame looks solid, but those bushings are completely shot. We've got our work cut out for us.
The hydraulic lift allows us to inspect the notoriously vulnerable suspension mounting points for rust damage.
This is a prime example of why long-term storage can be detrimental. The moisture sees the V8 and the radiator is completely blocked.
We're looking at the stripped-down starting point. The exposed brake drums show heavy rust, and the suspension bushings have completely collapsed.
As we carefully lift the panel, the corrosion on the hinge pins becomes clear. It's a slow process, extracting.
All right, easy now. Watch the fenders.
Okay, I got it. Where are the stands?
Right here. Bring it down slow. All right, hit that last bolt. It's really stuck. Got it. Watch the clips. Boy, this thing is really seized up. Hold on, I think I got it now.
You have to be extremely careful with these old mounts. This pitting here is 70 years of exposure, but the bow tie is solid. We'll be able to save it.
Okay, lift it carefully.
As you can see, this oxidation is severe. We'll have to strip it down completely.
Using the suction cups, we apply gentle pressure to avoid shattering this massive star crack. The original seal is completely.
Removing the side window exposed this simple roll-down mechanism. Look at the corrosion on these tracks, completely frozen in place after all these years. Here we have the Dubl-Duti panels. The sun-bleached colors and cracked vinyl tell the story of this truck's long life.
Okay, lift slowly on your side, mind the wiring harness.
It's heavier than it looks, and this rust is flaking everywhere. Angle it towards the passenger side, it's hitting the rust spot.
Okay, I've got it. Watch the wires.
And there it is. You can really see the wear here on the rim and the pitting on that original horn button. This is the original 1940 harness. We're meticulously documenting the routing, but as you can see, the rodent damage and cracked insulation mean it's unusable.
Decades of road debris and moisture have completely seized the system. We'll replace everything from the master cylinder down.
First, we have to meticulously document the original setup. As you can see, the linkage is severely bent from the impact.
This is the beauty of the old Dubl-Duti design. Simple linkage, but this safety button here is completely frozen. Meticulous organization is key to any successful restoration. Every piece of this 40 Chevy is accounted for. This 1940 Chevy Dubl-Duti frame, despite decades of neglect, is remarkably solid. As you can see, the surface rust.
The rust on this Dubl-Duti is comprehensive. The cowl area alone requires significant panel replacement, and the floor pans are riddled with holes. The deep cleaning phase begins with the right setup.
ensuring the degreasing solution is properly mixed before the machine powers up.
The high-pressure water systematically removes the dirt, showcasing the truck's true color for the first time in years.
We're using a stiff brush initially to release the heavy grime, then moving to the compound to really bring out the shine on this pitted surface.
The key here is the chemical dwell time. You can actually see the foam changing color as it encapsulates and pulls those contaminants away from the surface.
This Dubl-Duti panel hasn't been cleaned in decades. We use soft brushes to protect the texture.
The chemical reaction is key here. As you can see, the heavy-duty solution is already starting to break down that thick oil residue. Thanks to the rotisserie, we have full access to the frame rails. The mud just falls away, revealing the true structural condition of this classic Chevy. We use a razor to carefully scrape away the oxidation and calcium. Now look at that, the original wavy distortion of the 1940s glass.
The 70-year-old rubber simply disintegrates. It's clear which parts we can reuse and which are completely shot.
Scrubbing reveals the true condition. See these thin spots? That's heavy corrosion, but surprisingly, the firewall's original primer is still intact. This Dubl-Duti shows complete rust through. I'm probing for thin spots before we fabricate the new floor rails.
From filthy barn find to this gleaming shell, the water sheets off, revealing the painstaking work ahead and that stunning original teal. Compressed air is essential for drying these recessed areas. It also reveals the true extent of the corrosion we're dealing with.
As you can see by the chalk lines, the rust has really taken hold around the windscreen. This isn't just surface rust, it's structural.
Repairing the cabinet involves ensuring a steady supply of media and checking all safety protocols, including the door seals, before loading the vintage Chevy panels. As you can see, the sandblaster strips the undercoating clean, exposing those original factory stampings. As the phosphoric acid is brushed on, the chemical reaction starts, turning the orange oxidation into a stable black surface.
The wire wheel reaches deep into the seams, removing decades of rust and revealing the bare metal underneath.
The key here is smooth, even coats. This first layer of red polyester is crucial for adhesion and building up the damaged area.
Penetration looks good. Ready for the next section.
After trimming the excess with aviation snips, the new panels are clamped, allowing us to check alignment with the firewall before tack welding. The new steel panels are trimmed exactly to the original floor contour. We then weld the seam, creating a solid. The key here is the alignment. We use the edging tool to create the perfect lip before the final weld. We're setting the new diamond plate now. Next up is drilling the mounting holes to match the original chassis. After cleaning the brackets, we're carefully aligning the new stamped steel. You want to make sure the gaps are perfect before tightening these final bolts. The lower section was severely rusted, so these patch panels have to follow the original contour exactly. First, we mark the exact area using the original contours, then carefully snip the new steel. The TIG welding provides a strong, clean seam.
First, we cut away the rusted brackets. Once the new reproduction brackets are welded in place, we grind the weld smooth.
Using the dial indicator here to ensure the door gaps are exactly to spec. Any misalignment now will cause issues later.
We're applying the first coat now. The gray high build covers the repairs nicely, ensuring a perfect surface for the next stage.
We use the block in smooth, circular motions to flatten the primer. Then we check the surface meticulously with
इस आप जाते भी डाल दे कि बहुत का भी सबको भी आप ग्राइंस है बातों भी गार एक इंडिकेशन दे है इस बार नहीं यो अरेटी गई है.
The first base coat of metallic teal is crucial, transforming the gray primer into the classic Chevrolet palette.
This is the second base coat on the Dubl-Duti. We're looking for full coverage and rich saturation before the clear goes on.
Sceners. This high-gloss top coat is the final protective layer. As you can see,
the clear coat flows smoothly.
To achieve a mirror finish on this 40 Chevy, we meticulously color sand the clear coat.
The dual-action polisher generates just enough heat to activate the compound, revealing that deep, mirror-like shine.
The goal here is perfection. Every body line must be crisp and the coverage absolutely.
First off, the valve covers come off. Then we hit the head bolts. Once the heads are lifted, the extent of the wear.
We rotate the block to get the internal passages, then hit the bores directly with carburetor cleaner to dissolve the carbon.
We're checking for straightness now using the dial indicator. We rotate it slowly, looking for any runout beyond the service limit. As the boring bar rotates, the cutting head mills the cast iron. We then measure the finished bore to ensure proper clearance for the new pistons. With the ring gaps checked and the compressor seated, we use the handle of the hammer to gently tap the piston assembly into the cylinder bore. We press the new tri-metal bearing shells into the caps, then apply the assembly lube. Using the beam torque,
We start in the center and work our way out, ensuring an even seal. The gauge must read exactly 6.5 foot-pounds. Next, align the timing marks precisely as you install the chain. Then, using a feeler gauge, we verify the jet sizes against the factory specifications and carefully set the float level using these specialized gauges. As the distributor seats, ensure the drive engages the oil pump shaft and the rotor aligns with cylinder 1. Now we secure.
The final step is crucial, filling the pump cavity with oil. This prevents a dry start and ensures immediate lubrication.
We torque the bolts following a star pattern to ensure even gasket compression. Now we can fill the cooling system with the fresh coolant mixture.
With the engine guided into alignment, the mounting pads compress under the weight. We then ensure the bolts are torqued precisely to the factory specifications. We cut the new cooling hoses to length and secure them with clamps, ensuring a tight seal before checking the overflow bottle.
Perfect. We start by testing the field coils for continuity, then press in the new bearings. After turning the commutator on the lathe,
The rebuild begins with a meticulous inspection of the Bendix drive. We then test the armature for ground faults. We position the gasket, mount the pump, and tighten the bolts. Now we pump the primer to fill the line with fresh gas.
Gaskets are positioned. When tightening the bolts, follow the star pattern, working from the center out to ensure an even seal.
By tracing each wire against the factory diagram, we ensure every connection, from the generator to the fuse box, is accurate. With the wheel cylinders installed, we route the new steel lines, ensuring every connection is double flared for safety and reliability.
The audio features the ambient sounds of a workshop, including
We start by bolting the new wheel cylinder to the backing plate, making sure the rubber hose connects securely to the hard line.
After flushing the old fuel, we media blasted the exterior to bare metal. A special sealer prevents corrosion before the final coat of single-stage black paint.
All right, lift it up steady now.
Got it. The strap aligns right here.
Perfect, bolt it down. So once the old rubber is pressed out, we install the new polyurethane bushings. Now we just need to confirm the alignment specs are spot on.
We bolt the new Gabriel shock absorbers to the mounting points, ensuring the shafts are secure. Then, it's crucial to check each bolt for proper torque.
Make sure the bearing cone is coated thoroughly, ensuring all roller surfaces are covered before placing them in the hub and pressing the new seals into position.
From the initial acid dip and extensive polishing to the copper and final bright chrome plating, every wheel is meticulously quality checked.
All right, that bead is seated perfectly. We always make sure the white wall is facing out on these classics.
after positioning the wheel, we thread the lug nuts by hand, following the star pattern. Then, using the calibrated...
All right, give me some pumps on the pedal. Okay, hold it down. We're clear now, you can let it up slowly. The key here is the precise alignment of the input shaft before securing the mounting bolts to the engine block. We start by measuring the free play. The adjustment is made right here at the fork linkage to verify the clearance before testing the pedal engagement. The slip yoke slides smoothly into the transmission housing. We then secure the center support bearing to the cross member using a torque wrench. Once the housing is open, we remove the ring gear bolts. Then, new bearings are pressed onto the shaft. With the axle aligned and the brake line secured, this rear end is ready for the long haul. The geometry is perfect.
Absolutely flawless. The clips are secure and the alignment is spot on.
We're installing the restored chrome bumpers now, sliding them onto the brackets bolted to the frame. The bolts are threaded and then properly torqued. All right, bring it forward slowly. Watch the gap on the firewall.
Is that centered now?
Almost. Just a hair to the left. Okay, hold it there. I'm putting the pins in.
We start by securing the hinges with the pneumatic screwdriver. Then, using a feeler gauge, we meticulously check the gap.
We lubricate the new rubber seal and stretch it over the glass. Once positioned, we work the seal around the perimeter. Finally, we spray for leaks. After securing the vent, the main glass is lowered and the regulator engaged. Lubricating the channels ensures smooth movement when we attach the crank.
Ensuring the tailgate sits level and square is crucial for a 1940 Dubl-Duti. The new hardware and chains provide the necessary support. Once the panel is aligned with the firewall, we secure the mounting brackets. Then it's just a matter of plugging in the harness and the speedometer cable. Once the column is through the firewall, the bracket is bolted down. The steering shaft then couples to the gearbox with this universal joint. All right, that seats nicely. Just need to get this centered right here. Perfect. We carefully align the seat risers with the mounting points, ensuring the bolts are secured tightly.
We begin by carefully positioning the trim panel, making sure the clips align with the window regulator support.
Once the panel is positioned against the roof bows, we can secure the visors and connect the dome light. Then it's careful work securing the perimeter.
Make sure that's tight around the tunnel.
Applying the adhesive now.
And the seat mounts are clear. First, ensure the linkage rods are securely attached and the indicator is aligned. Then we check the engagement through
Settings. From the emergency brake to the smooth operation of the windows and the final adjustment of the mirror, every component is checked.
On this 1940 Chevy Dubl-Duti, we ensure the doors, hood, and trunk have perfectly even gaps, critical for a Concours restoration.
After 70 years, the flathead engine receives its final fluids before we attempt the initial startup.
The flathead V8 is running perfectly. Oil pressure is strong, the temperature steady, and the TOD on. The Dubl-Duti's unique housing requires careful calibration to ensure the low beam cutoff is precise for modern roads.
Proper wheel alignment is crucial for straight-line tracking, requiring precise adjustments to the toe, caster, and camber angles.
A project born of passion, finally stepping into the light. It's a beautiful thing.
This stunning transformation of the 1940 Chevy Dubl-Duti represents the pinnacle of restoration craftsmanship.
And here she is, the flathead V8, completely rebuilt. Everything's new, from the fuel lines to the generator.
The interior transformation is complete. Note the plush burgundy bench seat and the gleaming 3-gauge clutches. This stunning 1940 Chevy Dubl-Duti represents the pinnacle of American commercial design.
The Chevrolet Dubl-Duti, a workhorse of the era, redefined expectations for commercial trucks when it first rolled out.
The dramatic 3/4 view reveals the perfect symmetry of this 1940 Chevrolet. Note the straight body line. It's been waiting 60 years to run again, and let's give it some road.
Cruising down this empty road, bathed in the golden hour, it's clear this old Chevy is ready.